Haha, I was early. Didn't expect that, did you? There's a first time for everything. Okay, I was only about 10 or 15 seconds early, but hey ho, it's still early. And I've dived in early because chat's been buzzing before the stream started tonight. So many people. They've probably all got bored and gone already, but we have Tong Pao and TK Yang and Grumpy Slan's not going to be with us until late because he's got to shovel snow. Green Dragon, Elfbait, Halakar. Lots of regular names. 9 people in chat. Lovely to see. And here's the Fat Gamer as well. Hello and good evening. Welcome to Fighting Fantasy Friday. Friday. Hope you've all had a good week. It's only the middle of my working week. I've got to go to work tomorrow and Sunday. But for most people, you'll be looking forward to a weekend now. As I said on the stream on Wednesday night, I played a little game with Saxius last night. First time he's ever DM'd for me. Shadow of the Demon Lord we played. And it was absolutely jam-packed with dark humour. Saxius is vicious, but our humour was vicious as well. And given the setting and the way everything worked, the way mine and Gingerbeard's humour bounced off each other, it was great fun. Hello, Hungar. How are you? Good to see you're out of hospital. And I think are you visiting James at all in the near future for some gaming? I'm sure he said something about it on his stream. But yeah, Shadow of the Demon Lord last night. We both played the part of goblins. I don't know how familiar you are with the game. It's very morally dubious. And our goblins started off meaning well, sort of, in their own little way. But in our first encounter, Gingerbeard got mauled by a dog, hung up as a scarecrow. Because he was a zealot to an old god, he believed he'd died and was experiencing some form of afterlife. My character believed him. So that got him out of doing any work for the rest of the day because I can't carry that. I'm dead. But I offered him food. I don't need food. I'm dead. Oh, okay. But he didn't need payment either, so I took his payment. And then when we found a grave digger, we persuaded the grave digger to bury him. So he got buried alive. He wasn't really dead. He'd survived the mauling. Only just. He'd been unconscious, but he bounced back. Yeah, so the Gingerbeard's on his second character already. But my little goblin, Pustule, his name is he's now first level. Marvellous. Anyway, so I'm guessing you want me to actually get started with the book. Can't see too many people commenting on my silly stories about playing Saxius' games. I do recommend it, by the way. We are playing next Thursday on Discord, and there is room for more players. As long as you play goblins, that's the law. You've got to fit in with us. Hello, Daniel. How are you doing? Right. Hopefully everybody's ready for me to kick off with my my book reading. A little bit of Hobgoblin. I'm allowed 1 beer a week now due to my diet. I managed to lose a little bit of weight this week. Not very much, but a little bit. Little bits. Small steps, as they say. Right. If you remember last time, we were playing Freeway Fighter. Creature of Havoc had killed us, then Freeway Fighter killed us. Didn't Freeway Fighter kill us twice? I can't remember. We've been dying so much in these books lately. But, and actually I can take these stupid things off because Nobody's here with me in chat, so on direct stream voice chat, so I don't need to be wearing that. Hello, Roland. How are you? You popped into our game last night for about 30 seconds and then heard a very short amount of it and disappeared. Hope it didn't put you off. Yes, I don't think you joined in at the best possible moment either. Just as we were murdering an innocent farmhand, I think that was the particular moment. Right. I've got written down here the number 353. Does that ring any bells? Freeway Fighter. Yes? No? Assuming it's right. I've got us on a skill of 8, a stamina of 29, luck of 9. 10 uses of a medikit, 350 credits, 10 firepower, 17 armor, machine gun, 2 rockets left, 3 spikes, 2 oil. Yes, we'd found the extra fuel on this one. We'd found the extra fuel, hadn't we? So we were doing quite well. Yes. Right, and 353 doesn't give us that much of a background. It's quite a short passage. It just says, the dirt track twists and turns through the open countryside, but at last you come to a T-junction, where the dirt track is crossed by a good road. You look down it both ways, but do not see any vehicles or signs of life. If you wish to head east, turn to 61. If you wish to head west, turn to 371. I can't remember which way was good and which way was bad, so I'm going to leave that up to you. East or west? Daniel's engaging. Anybody else? Hungar says, everybody sub to the Fat Gamer. Am I sub to the Fat Gamer? Not sure. I know he started a channel, and I've seen him appear on some of Max's channels. Last time I remember he was having sound issues. If the sound issues are sorted, then yeah, might as well. Yeah. Right. Yeah, South does seem to be the overall. That's the overall goal. Everyone's saying go east. So turn to 61. See if this one rings any bells. What's going on? We're playing Freeway Fighter. It's a fighting fantasy book, if you remember those. And you're making the decisions. Right. The road heads directly east, and you are able to travel along it without incident until you reach another T-junction. Here you decide to turn right in order to drive south towards San Anglo. 272. The landscape turns to a reddish brown as you drive further into the desert. The road runs south, straight as an arrow, and is virtually clear of abandoned cars. As you drive along, something you recognize catches your eye. It's an overturned interceptor which must have veered off the road and rolled over after its driver died at the wheel. Shall we stop to see if there's any spares worth taking, or shall we ignore it and carry on driving? Picture. Daniel's moonlighting in his missus's account as usual. So are we going to stop to see if there's any spares worth taking, or shall we keep on driving? We have those two options. There's no option to hide, Tong Pao. Good evening, Praxis. In past years, I would have been doing the adulting on a Friday night, but now my daughter drove herself to football training. That's why I can stream on a Friday now. Yes. We used to play games as well on a Friday night, but my Friday night group sort of fell apart a little bit. We now meet up on a Monday. So we're going to stop and see if there's any spares worth taking. Only Tong Pao reckon we should keep going. So if that's the right answer, then Tong Pao, you tell them. There is one wheel in reasonable condition remaining on the Interceptor. The tire is flat, but can easily be inflated again with the can of flat you fix. It doesn't take long to remove the wheel and store it inside your own car. Shall we look inside the crashed car, or shall we just continue now? So we've got a spare wheel. Look inside the car, or continue? Any more votes? I think Tong Pao wants to drive off. Roland, are you voting for this one, or was that the last one? I can't remember when that vote came in. Halakar wants to look inside. Praxis wants to look inside, and Kelsey, Dan in disguise, wants to look inside. Any more votes? We have 12 people in chat at the moment. No necromantic magic. Never know. It might cross genres. Doubt it. Okay, so that's 4 votes now for look inside, and only Tong Pao wanting to continue. There's always one person each week who gets outvoted. Every time. Okay. Looking inside the crashed car, 253. You pull open the driver's door and reach inside to open the glove compartment. Suddenly you hear a rattling sound and realize with horror that you've disturbed the nest of a rattlesnake. The snake strikes and bites your arm, emptying deadly poison into your veins. If you still possess a pack of medicine from your medikit, press. Yeah, we haven't used our medikit. You run to your car and tear open a pack of medicine from your medikit. You inject yourself with snakebite serum and dress the wound. However, the treatment does not increase your stamina. It merely prevents the poison from killing you. You recover sometime later, but are nevertheless weakened by the ordeal. Lose 1 skill point and 2 stamina points. Great. You walk back to the overturned Interceptor and shoot the snake with vengeful glee. A bit late now. Inside the glove compartment, you find a few meters of coiled plastic tubing, which you decide to take with you. With your arm still throbbing painfully, you drive off south again. So we've got coiled plastic tubing. Just gonna sort the light out here. Okay, right. Light's now shining on my page a little bit better. I was struggling to read that with my old man eyes. Drive off south again. I do need some new glasses. In your rear view mirror, you see a motorbike and sidecar steadily closing up on you. The passenger is holding a machine gun mounted on the nose of the sidecar. He reminds you of early pilots with his goggles and a leather flying cap. Both men are wearing black scarves over their mouths to keep the windblown sand out of their lungs. When they are no more than 50 meters behind, they signal their intention by firing a burst from the machine gun at the Interceptor. Lose 1 armor point. Okay. What shall we do? Drop a canister of iron spikes, release a spray of oil, or return fire with our machine gun. So there's your option. Spikes, oil, or gun. 3 choices. Only 10 in chat. 2 have run away. The girl from the gas station. Yeah, no, Halakar. You've been drinking on your day off. Want 2 oil, 2 spikes at the moment. I'm guessing there are stories behind that, Halakar. I'll talk to you in private on Discord sometime if ever you want to talk about that. It's up to you. I used to drink a lot more than I do now. Hello, Squirrel. How are you doing? Well, 3 spikes now. 3 spikes, 2 oil. Any more votes? There's 7 people lurking, unvoted, not voting. The choice is drop spikes, spray oil, or fire the gun. If we were playing Car Wars now, the spikes would have a chance of damaging the tyres. The oil would cause them, make it difficult to them to perform a manoeuvre. And a gun, you don't really want to fire at the front of a motorbike with a gun, but if you catch them on the side, you can shred them. They're not, no, these are a couple of bikers after us, Tom Pow. It's gun, spikes, or oil. Those are our choices. Need Amazon to turn up for you. We're on 3 spikes. See, Halakar's using logic. But no one's listening to you because you've got a clown face as your avatar, so people are ignoring you. But 3 spikes, 3 oil at the moment. Nobody wants to fire the gun. I think that might be wise. Okay, I'm going to roll dice. Spikes or oil? 1 to 3 spikes, 4 to 6 oil. It's a 1. Spikes. I'd have gone for oil personally, but never been a biker though. You press the release button on the dashboard and watch the canister bounce along the road behind you. It suddenly bursts open, scattering the pointed iron spikes all over the road. Roll a d6. If you roll between 1 and 4, turn to 373. 5 or 6, turn to 220. I've rolled a 3. 373. The motorbike and sidecar run straight over the iron spikes, shredding 2 of their tires. The vehicle swerves off the road and rolls over in the sand. In a matter of seconds, they are out of sight. Yes. Got him. Got him. I think there might even be a mechanic from Car Wars. It's like a 4 in 6 chance. Taking tires out. I'd be surprised if I hadn't robbed Car Wars mechanics for this. The kilometres roll by and the petrol gauge is reading almost empty again. Are you carrying a full can of petrol inside the Interceptor? Yes, we are. We've got 2. So 180. You stop the car and pour the contents of the can into the petrol tank. You know that you don't have enough fuel to reach San Anglo and wonder where you'll find some more in this desert wilderness. It is a depressing thought which weighs on your mind as you set off again. Doesn't give us an option to collect the ammo or harvest the meat. Speaking of harvesting, in that Shadow of the Demon Lord game last night, the only reason Gingerbeard's character got badly mauled is because my character decided to go pinching apples from this orchard we went past, like a farm, and we scrambled through the fence, went nicking apples. Farm dog spotted us. We ran for it. I got through the fence. Gingerbeard got caught, thrown around like a little rag doll. I tried to throw an apple to make the dog go fetch, but it ran off to fetch the apple with Gingerbeard still in his mouth. Right, where were we? On the right-hand side of the road, you see an abandoned police car half covered by a drift of sand. Shall we stop to see if there's anything of use here, or shall we keep going south? So, do we examine this abandoned police car, or shall we keep driving? Hello, Munchy Gecko. One, two, three, four, five, saying stop and have a look, and only Roland Bishop has decided to keep driving. Any more votes? Any more votes? Are we going to have 5 people vote to continue driving? I don't think so. I think Elfbait wants to keep driving. Roland admits he's a scaredy cat, but we're still at 5-2, and I don't. Yeah, we've got 11 people in, and now practice is that's a majority. 6 for having a look, and we have 11 people in chat, so can't be beaten. 109. Whoever was driving the car must have taken everything with them when they set off on foot after running out of petrol. You walk around to the back of the car and try to open the boot, but find that it is locked. If we have a crowbar, we could try to prise the boot open, but we haven't got a crowbar. So we're going to have to continue south. Okay, what's your picture, Halakar? That's confusing. I can't see what you're doing in that picture. Is it on its side? Is that the horizon sort of? No, that is confused. That's just made me dizzy. Okay, that has just made me dizzy. Right, okay. We're gonna have to keep going because we haven't got a crowbar, so we can't get inside the boot. Trunk to Americans, boot to Brits. Parked in the middle of the road ahead of you is a bizarre-looking vehicle. It looks like a pickup truck, which has been converted to resemble a Roman chariot. Cool. It even has scythes attached to its wheels. Even better. A huge bare-chested man wearing a gladiatorial helmet which covers his face is standing on the back of the truck holding onto a double-barreled machine gun. He signals to his driver to drive forward into battle. You have no choice but to fight this new age gladiator. Ah, right, okay. Going down the side of a building. Okay. That's what we're fighting. He looks a bit hard. Right. No, we are not. We are not dead. We have lost. We've been bitten by a snake. Lost a bit of skill, but that won't matter in this fight. He's got firepower 9 and armor 15. We've got firepower 10, armor 16. We've got an advantage, but only a small one. We're red dice. He's orange. 8-7 to us. I need a second camera, don't I, for this? 10-12 to him. Yeah. So we got double 5 there. I thought, oh, yeah, and that's why he got double 6. 7-4 to us. We are firing the machine gun at him. That's what we'll be doing. 6-11 to him. This isn't good. Our car's getting battered. 5-6 is a tie. 9-7 to us. We should have an advantage, but that's better. 11-7. We are now driving home that advantage. Driving joke. Get it? Sorry. 10-4. I promise the humour in the game last night was a lot better. 7-10. We're taking a few hits. We're down to 10 armour. He's on 5 armour. 7-8 is a tie. We do need to get our car repaired. 6-6. That's us again. Come on. 2 more hits. 2 more hits. 6-7 is a tie. 11-12 is a tie. 6-11 is a win for him. Jeez. Ouch. So we've taken 8 damage in the fight. He's taken 12 damage, and there have been a few ties. 9-10 is a tie. 6-6. That's us. We have still got credits, yes. 6-7, another tie. This fight's going on forever. 8-7. Got him. It's cost us a hell of a lot of armor, but we've won. Need to get repaired. You press on south as quickly as possible and switch on the radio, hoping to establish contact with San Anglo. However, no voices are audible above the crackling static. You decide to leave it on anyway, in case somebody tries to make contact with you. After driving a further 15 kilometers, you come to another junction in the road. Somebody has left a sign there which reads, "Engine and body repairs," in crude writing, and shows an arrow pointing east. Shall we go east, or shall we keep going south? So, shall we follow this crude sign, or shall we keep going south? In terms of ammo, we've got infinite machine gun ammo, but we've got 2 rockets left, 2 spikes left, 2 oil, and 1 fuel can. So south to continue, or do we trust the sign and try and get our car repaired to the east? It's a trap. Let's follow the sign. But yeah. We're at 2-2 at the moment. Don't think there's much focusing involved, tongue power, to be honest. Just go south or east. We don't know. It could. There's often not a lot of logic. I mean, who knows? When we checked out that car, dug around inside, that we'd come across a rattlesnake. We'll know for next time. Right, we're on. South is currently winning. Only 2 are saying go east, and we currently have 3-4 for south. So Hmm. 4 south, 2 east. Anybody else? 5 south, 3 east. Looks like it's south. After 30 kilometres or so, the road suddenly ends. Road construction vehicles stand idle, left to the ravages of the desert heat and wind. There is no sign of life. The road you are driving along was never finished before the catastrophe. Lose 1 luck point. To your left, the terrain is flat and stony. To your right and straight ahead, there is nothing but sand. Shall we head east across the stony ground or continue south across the sand? So across the stony ground or across the sand? Up to you. The power of democracy. It usually gets us killed. Everyone's going east. That's good. Glad to see everybody's in agreement. 251. 251. You check your compass to make sure you're heading directly east. The interceptor vibrates as it crosses the stony ground, and suddenly you hear a loud bang. It becomes difficult to steer, the obvious sign of a flat tyre. You stop to inspect the damage and find that the tyre has blown and cannot be inflated by flat you fix. Are we carrying a spare wheel? Yes, we are. You jack the car up and put on the... Bear with me a moment. Got a little sign on the door that says when I'm streaming, so the family can't complain. They won't pay any attention, they'll still walk in when they feel like it. Okay, where were we? You jack the car up and put on a spare wheel. A few minutes later, you're driving east again, carefully trying to avoid sharp stones. You drive for an hour across the bumpy terrain until you finally reach another road running north to south. You turn right onto it, grateful to be driving on a smooth road again. You pass an articulated truck which looks as if it has only recently been parked. Shall we stop and examine the truck, or shall we drive on without stopping? Stop and examine the truck or drive on? Yes, we have still got 2 things of oil, and in this, they're a weapon. It's like an oil gun. It goes at the back like a big turd coming out the back of the car. Big slippery turd. Once again, Roland's being outvoted. One, two, three. Yes. Hello, Jean. 6-1 at the moment for examine. Only Roland's going for drive on. Give you another 10 seconds or so to cast your votes. We do have tubing to siphon petrol with. Gas over here is lighter than air. I know it's short for gasoline. Yeah, there's been a lot of drama, hasn't there, this last week? I had it on the feed at work today, but to be honest, I'm quite thankful having a stream on something else tonight, just to get away from it all. Too much drama can get a bit much. Right, so we're stopping to examine it. The company I buy the most new stuff from is Chaosium, and if I was ever going to write something, it would be something Cthulhu-ish. If I ever get the time and the I don't know, the concentration and commitment to sit down and put pen to paper. I've got some ideas for Cthulhu adventures. Yes, it's very much Discord business, but I probably buy 3 or 4 brand new Chaosium books each year. I do like their work. Hello, Flady. There is nothing of use inside the cabin, and its wagon is empty. You automatically tap the petrol tank to see if there's any fuel left in it, and are surprised to discover that there is. Oh, hold on, it's a big wagon. Don't they use diesel? The tank is made of reinforced steel, and you wonder how you can extract the petrol. Do we have a length of plastic tubing? Yes, we do. 306. So we had to get bitten by that snake. Right. You place an empty petrol canister under the truck's petrol tank and connect them with the plastic tubing. You suck the tube to start the petrol flowing and siphon out all of the tank's petrol, nearly filling your canister. Yes. Add a lock point. Marvelous. You place the fuel tank inside the interceptor and continue the drive south. Marvelous. The miles slip by and your petrol gauge once again reads empty. If you've filled up your petrol canister recently, turn to 99. Yes, of course we have. We've just done it. I remember Thieves' World. I never had it. I saw it on the shelf. It always intrigued me. I've heard it's good. You stop the tank and empty the fuel canister into the petrol. Stop the car and empty the fuel tank. Teeth, John, get your teeth in. I keep reading a line below. You stop the car and empty the fuel canister into the petrol tank. You see that the Interceptor is looking somewhat the worse for wear and wonder if it will last the trip. Shall we carry out some instant repairs, or shall we just drive off immediately? Shall we try and repair our car, or are we just going to keep on driving? We've used our spare wheel. I'll cross that out. I don't know if we've got a repair kit, but hey ho. We've got wire cutters and knuckle dusters. Brass knuckles, you lot. Duct tape the bitch. Okay. Let's see if we haven't got the chain. No, I don't think so. Let's see what we can do in terms of repairs. You do what you can to repair the car. It takes about half an hour to clean the spark plugs and check the oil, tune the carburetor, and make sure nothing vital is damaged. You find that 3 wheel nuts are loose on one of the back tires and screw them up tight again. Add 2 armor points. Good. Satisfied that everything is as well as can be expected, you set off south again. Our possession list. We have knuckle dusters, wire cutters, plastic tubing, 2 rockets, two sets of spikes, We've used our spare fuel now. 2 oil. We've got 9 uses of a medikit, 350 credits, but our car is battered. We're going to fall for that one again. The road cuts a straight black line through the nightmare red landscape. The desert heat rises from the sand in shimmering waves, and your air conditioner rattles in its noisy struggle to keep you cool. We keep running out of fuel. Why have we got the aircon on? Aircons, it uses up the fuel. Your radio picks up nothing but static and crackles away monotonously. You keep the accelerator pressed to the floor as you speed through the Badlands. You should be doing 56 miles an hour to try and keep the petrol consumption steady. Ahead in the distance, you see black smoke curling up into the air. You slow down and brake alongside a burning car. It's an old sports car from the last century, a Corvette with its 200 brake horsepower V8 engine. A beast of the past, abruptly ending its life in a ball of fire. Leaning casually against a boulder away from the burning wreck is a blonde woman wearing black overalls and holding a shotgun. When she sees the interceptor approach, she runs out into the road to wave you down. You stop in front of her, your hand reaching for your revolver in case she tries to hijack the interceptor. You ask her where she's going, and in a stern voice she replies, "South. As far as you are concerned, I just want to lift, unless you also belong to that wild gang of road warriors who attacked me." You tell her that you're on a mission to San Anglo and offer a ride. "San Anglo?" she yells. "You must be the person we've been expecting from New Hope." She jumps into the car and introduces herself as Amber. She says that a message went out to all patrol vehicles to be on the lookout for the interceptor, but she had to be sure that you were who you said you were. She also tells you that there is a complication. For the last 2 days, San Anglo has been under constant attack from a large gang of road warriors known as the Doom Dogs, led by a man they call the Animal. It was the Doom Dogs who attacked her less than an hour ago. They are determined to massacre the inhabitants of San Anglo to have access to the reserves of petrol. It is now virtually impossible to leave or enter San Anglo without being attacked by their heavily armored cars and motorbikes. There's only one solution: to break into their camp at night and sabotage their vehicles. The look of determination in Amber's eyes convinces you that there is no alternative, and you agree to help her. She slaps the dashboard in eager excitement and tells you to drive as quickly as possible. Half an hour later, Amber tells you to stop. In the distance, you can see smoke rising into the air. "San Anglo Refinery," she says in a proud voice. "We'd rather die than let the vermin steal the petrol from us. Turn left off the road. It'll be dark in an hour, and then we'll have to leave the car and walk to the Doom Dogs camp. Test your luck. If you are lucky, turn to 7. And we are double 1. That's excellent. Anytime you want to roll a double 1 is when testing your luck. If we're lucky, turn to 7. Amber urged you to turn off the road and head east across the stony desert ground. She lets you drive on until the interceptor cannot be seen from the road. Then she tells you to stop and wait until it gets dark. We need to be alert for our raid tonight, so I brought along something to keep us going. Aye, aye. Blonde birds driven us off into the desert we can't be seen. Stop it, John. She says happily, reaching into her pocket. Test your luck again. Oh, yes. We've got an 8. We have 8 luck. Down to 7 luck now. I had my goblin voice on last night. Okay. I'm going to read this in my goblin voice from last night's game. Amber hands you some glucose. Oh, no, it wasn't like that at all, was it? My goblin voice. I can't remember. I can't. Oh, poor old Pustul's going to have another voice next week. So it was something along the lines of, Amber hands you some glucose tablets and energy synthes. Stop it. Stop it. Amber hands us some glucose tablets and some energy synthe pills. Add 4 stamina points. Yes. Turn to 32. What said he was dead? You pack all your equipment into 2 backpacks and set off towards the Doomdogs camp. There's a full moon, and it's not too difficult to make your way across the desert. Guided by your compass, you head steadily east. After an hour, you see the glow of a fire in the distance on high ground. Amber explains in a whisper that the Doomdogs live in tents on top of a low flat hill where their cars are parked. When you reach the hill, you find that the slope is very gentle, and you are soon at the top. You lie down and survey the movements inside the camp. A group of people are sitting around the campfire drinking and laughing. 2 men are walking slowly around the edge of the camp on guard duty, each armed with a rifle. You decide to crawl around the side of the hill to the barbed wire fence to put your plan into action. You hear one of the guards above you, close by. Bad. You hear one of the guards above you close by. Then the punctuation. And press yourself against the side of the hill to avoid being seen. Amber inadvertently kicks a stone which rolls down the hill a few meters. Sound it makes is very loud in the quiet of the desert night. Test our luck again. Oh. Our luck is now 6. I've just rolled a 7. It was 7. It's gone down to 6. We've just passed that. But now we got a more than 50% chance of failing luck checks after that one. That was our last good chance. I feel like he turned to 72, 76. Oh, brains bouncing around tonight. Do apologise. I don't know what happened to my goblin voice. My goblin voice was good last night, but it's gone a bit back of the throat. The guard does not pay attention to the noise of the rolling stone, being distracted by the jokes that his friends are telling around the fire. He walks on by and are able to crawl up to the fence. Turn to 198. You reach the barbed wire fence and see 8 vehicles inside its perimeter. The coiled wire is too finely meshed for you to be able to squeeze through without becoming entangled. Have we got a pair of wire cutters? Yes. Don't know what's happened to my goblin voice. We have got wire cutters. Feels like we've gone the right way now. You quickly snip through the wire and crawl into the compound. Amber moves from vehicle to vehicle, attaching small limpet mines to their engine blocks. When she's finished activating them, she signals for you to leave. You crawl down the side of the hill and stand up to run when you feel you are out of sight. The explosions suddenly start and you count 7 in all. One of the mines must have had a faulty fuse. You hear an engine start and look behind you, and 2 beams of light moving away from the rising flames of the burning wrecks. The Doomdogs intend to hunt down their attackers. Okay. Our current stamina, is it 10 or greater? Yeah, it is. It's 31. So turn to 107. You're an expert at hacking through wire fences, Halakar. Never done it. You run like the wind, glancing several times over your shoulder to watch the vehicle circling the hill, trying to pick up your tracks. You're less than 200 meters from the interceptor when your tracks are spotted and the vehicle turns to give chase. An angry voice booms out over the desert through a loudspeaker, shouting, "Stop! There is no escape from the animal." He's a bad guy, so he's got an English accent. The message is repeated over and over again as the vehicle closes up on you. Welcome sight of the interceptor appears before you, and you both jump inside just as your pursuers come into view. You start up the interceptor and turn to face your attackers. Your headlights illuminate a customized station wagon, which has thick sheets of plate steel riveted to its body and a pointed ramming bar protruding from its front grille. Machine gun nozzles housed on either side of the ram bar suddenly open fire. Okay, we've got to fight it. That's it. It looks a bit brutal. We've got to fight it. We've got to survive at least 3 rounds against it. That's what it says here. Right, 10-6. We've won the first round. It has the same firepower as us, and it has more armor than we do. So we are in trouble in this fight. 8-7. We're going all right. We're going all right. 5-7. We've lost that one. Okay, but if we survive 3 rounds of vehicle combat, turn to 67. Okay. Like 2 jousting knights on horseback, the 2 vehicles sweep by each other with machine guns blazing. Yeah, we can't use a rocket in this fight. I didn't read that bit out. It said we can't use rockets in this one. Should have used it in the last fight. Didn't think. After each pass, you turn sharply and charge each other again, but suddenly the station wagon swerves to ram the interceptor. You turn the steering wheel to take the interceptor out of the path of the station wagon. Roll 2 dice. Oh, it's greater than our skill. Oh. Could this be the end? I've been doing so well. Your reactions are too slow and the driver's door receives the full impact of the high-speed ram. The pointed ram bar pierces the reinforced door, killing you instantly. Your adventure ends in the desert night. I think we were really close to the end there. What a shame. What a shame. That had gone so well. We're dead, Tong Pao. Too late. Too late. Isn't that 3 deaths now in that one? Right. It's 23 minutes past 10. I'm going to, yeah. No, the Corvette girl was helpful. I'm trying to think what we could have done different. I mean, I should have used. I think we were just unlucky in that we didn't start with a massive skill, and we've lost 2 skill points along the way. That's why we failed that check. If we hadn't have, I rolled 8 on that check, and we've got 7 skill. Past that one check, nah, the car's battered though. Car's battered. I should have used rockets more openly, I think. My fault. Okay. Tong Pao, these books that we do on a Friday night are Fighting Fantasy. FF. Fighting Fantasy. There's lots of them. These ones. And they're basically choose your own adventures with dice mechanics. Very, very simple. £3 or £4 each from eBay. If you're patient. I see some people trying to charge £8 to £10 for them, but £3 or £4 each on eBay. Very simple. So, yeah. Right. I have another one here. It's slightly different. I'm not going to let you know what it is. I hope you have played this one before. I would always recommend Tongpao, if you're going to start with these, the first one is the one to go for. There are various covers. That's the one I've got, but that's the first one they ever did. That's not the original cover. It's the reissue, but it's number 1 in the series, The Warlock of Firetop Mountain. Always a good one to start with. Okay. This isn't fighting fantasy, but it's still a choose your own adventure with game mechanics. I'm hoping none of you have played it. We'll see how it goes and see how quickly you pick up on what game it is. Just you wait, Sonny Jim. Okay. Shall we begin? The sun is high in the sky, a merciless ball of heat. You feel scorched by the time you reach the bus halt in front of Osborne's drugstore. It's a relief to put down your heavy cases and take off your hat for a moment. You fan your face. It has been a long summer here in your hometown, and yet a curiously empty one. You look across the street at the grubby butcher's shop, the grocer's with its faded awning, and the shabby tobacconist. Mistrustful faces glare at you as they pass, eyeing your clothes and luggage. It was your parents' choice to live here, not yours. You were happy down south as a child among Providence's white-walled houses and leafy churchyards. Here's the clue. Perhaps this new job in Arkham will supply the change you need. Yet everybody you know in the world lives here. You know nobody in Arkham, not one soul. You ask yourself one last time if you're doing the right thing. The answer is here. None of your supposed friends have come to see you off. You're alone. Whatever challenges lie in Arkham, it will be a new life, and a brave one. A small grey motor coach approaches and rattles to a stop. You put your hat back on and pick up your cases. I'm hoping none of you have played this. A solo Call of Cthulhu adventure. Choose your own. I've got 3 of these. Two young men with sullen expressions alight from the coach. One looks you up and down before heading away. The driver also steps down, glancing at you before crossing the road to visit the tobacconist. When he returns, he is rolling a cigarette between his yellowed fingers. He gives it a final twist and examines you as he reaches for his matchbox. He's a thin man in his 50s, dressed in a stained shirt with the bus company emblem, yet his eyes are sharp in their dark sockets. Where to? You show him your ticket for Ossipee. From there you will connect to Rochester and Portsmouth, before the coastal line to Newburyport and finally Arkham. You should be able to afford a rail ticket for at least some of the way, otherwise this will be the first of many long bus trips. The driver scratches the match and lights his cigarette. The end flares as he takes a draw, then he exhales and gestures to the back of the coach. Luggage rack's up there. Okay. We now need to create our character. For those who aren't familiar with Call of Cthulhu, you have a number of stats. To which stat are we going to put our highest characteristic, which is an 80? Strength, constitution, power, dexterity, appearance, size, intelligence, or education. So it's up to chat. You've got to decide strength, constitution, power, dexterity, appearance, size, intelligence, or education. This is where we put our stat of 80. It's our best stat. 3 different suggestions at the moment. I don't know how familiar people are. Hello, Lord Javi from Birmingham, UK. So 2 votes at the moment for intelligence. You're voting at the moment. Highest stats: strength, constitution, power, dexterity, appearance, size, intelligence, or education. 3 votes for intelligence. 2 votes for education. 1 for constitution. 3. It's a close fight between intelligence and education. Currently on 4-3. Call of Cthulhu is the world's greatest role-playing game. All right, we're now on 5 education. 1, 2, 3, 4 intelligence. 4 intelligence, 5 education at the moment. This adventure is from the 7th edition starter set. I picked it up at the Games Expo a few years ago. It's a really, really good starter set. Really, really good. Right, education gets our highest stat. So we're putting 80 on education. We're intelligent. Oh, wait, right. Right. This might take a while. We're going to be voting for each stat here. So our 70, our second best stat, we are left with strength, constitution, power, dexterity, appearance, size, and intelligence. So we've put our biggest one in education. We've now got a 70 to put in strength, constitution, power, dexterity, appearance, size, or intelligence. I have to say, I did really enjoy Shadow of the Demon Lords last night. It was very smooth, very, very fluid. Mechanics are similar to a basic version of sort of like 5th edition, but only very loosely, very, very loosely. It's much darker than D&D. So we've got a vote for intelligence and a vote for power. 2 votes for intelligence, 1 for power, 1 for dex, 3 votes for intelligence. I have a feeling intelligence might win this because it was came second last time. Any more votes? Str, con, pow, dex, app, size, int. Yeah, we are making up a character for this. Int. Okay, intelligence gets the 70. Right. I'm going to go to the other end of the scale now. We've got a 40 to put somewhere. Our weakest stat: strength, con, pow, dex, appearance, or size. So 40. This is our worst one. Strength, con, pow, dex, appearance, or size. Right, you want us to be small. Okay. Okay. You do know that size is the hit point stat. Okay, so size gets the 40. And then we now have 350s and 260s. Shall I just scatter them randomly amongst the others? The 50s and 60s. Probably the best bet. So 260s and 350s. I'm just going to scatter them randomly. There we go. There we go. Okay. Let's go to the next stage. So we've just got on the bus. The driver smokes and watches as you drag your cases to the back of the motor coach. The rack is set inconveniently high on the vehicle. You get a grip on the heavier case. Here we go. If your size is 40, go to 23. If your size is higher than this, go to 38. Okay, so we've picked a small size. You struggle for a few seconds before the driver comes up beside you and lends a hand, still puffing on his cigarette. Heavy bags for a small one, he remarks. You judge it best to respond with a simple thanks. 233. I did play through this book when I first got it, and I did complete it on about the 5th attempt. I can't remember it. The driver flicks his cigarette into the gutter and steps into the motor coach. Its engine coughs into life. You board, grateful that you will be the only passenger for the initial part of your trip at least. With mixed emotions, you watch from the window as the tired avenues of your old home slip behind you, receding into the distance. For a few minutes, you can see the church spire over the brow of a low hill. Then the road dips, and it too is gone. Arkham is your new home. You will travel there and make a new start. Okay. Okay, so this is now where we fill in the various bits on the character sheet. So we start with a sanity of 50, 10 magic points. Okay. He hasn't got the Innsmouth look. He's normal, I think, this guy. He looks normal. He's not fishy. The coach putters through the countryside. At first, the interior is stifling and your stomach lurches with every bend in the road. However, the driver opens his window, and by switching seats, you find a spot where the breeze hits your face. You soon relax into the journey, observing the quaint little hamlets that the coach serves. A heavy-set woman boards at one settlement and gives you a polite nod. She gets off at the next one. The road rises a little, passing cornfields and orchards. The leaves are turning and the trees are alive with glorious reds and golds. You have just begun to doze when the driver takes a tight bend at speed. Add size and con together, divide the total by 10, rounding down gives us 10 hit points. We also have luck. 3d6 times 5 to get a luck score. 13. So that's 65 luck points. We can spend those to improve our rolls. Now we've got to make a roll against our dex. So it's just sort of testing our basic, just giving you the basics of the stuff. We've got a dex of 60. So 60 or lower. 62. Shall I use luck? I'm going to give you the option here. Do you want me to use 2 points of luck to pass this dex check, or shall we just take the failure? I failed by 2. So, chat, use luck or don't use luck. Failed a dex check, Halakar, very early on. The driver took a sharp corner in the bus, and we were dozing. And Hello, General Nut. We weren't lucky, we lost. Take the fail. What's left of our luck? Well, we've got 65 luck, so failed the dex check by just 2 points. Yeah, most likely just falling out of our seat or something like that. We're on 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3, 4, 4 at the moment. So 4, 4 with General Nuts and Halakar says fail. So 4, 5. Munchy Gecko says use luck. Tongpat, oh, that's 6 for using luck. So we're going to use our luck. We're going to pass. If you pass the dex roll, turn to 261. Hello, Straw Piglet. Seen you sneak in? Passed your stealth check. A desperate yell awakens you. You feel yourself slide from the seat as the driver spins the wheel and the motor coach plunges off the road. You grab hold of the seat in front just in time to prevent a painful fall. The coach stops with a thump. Now you see what has happened. A Fordson tractor has stopped in the road and your driver has had to swerve to avoid this steel obstacle. He leaps from his seat into the road, unleashing a string of curses at the farmer. You take a moment to catch your breath. Perhaps you should offer assistance, but the driver has already returned. He backs the coach up a little and threads it around the tractor, glaring at the farmer. Hello, Mage's Musings. No, that might have been the final fight we died in Freeway Fighter, but we got killed. We got a long, long way into the book, and it felt like we were really close to the end, and we died. Now we're playing this. Solo Call of Cthulhu. Ha. Yeah, the dice were good apart from when they weren't. You resume your journey. The driver takes the curves with more caution than before. He glances over his shoulder at you a couple of times. Sorry about before, he says. That fellow was dumber than a hog. I'm Silas. What's your name? The accident was at least as much Silas's fault as the farmer's, but it doesn't seem shrewd to antagonize the man while he's driving you through the middle of nowhere. So let's make up a name for our character and record it on our investigator's sheet. And our age as well. Someone choose a number between 23 and 36, please. And I'm going to scroll up. And we're going to call. I'm looking for Chandler. There. Okay, yeah, we're called Chandler. First name or surname? Halakar was quickest with the age at 27. So we're called Chandler, and we are 27 years old. The coach turns into a narrower road, which weaves uphill through woodland. Silas becomes chatty. Going to Arkham, can't say I ever heard of the place. Went to Boston once, didn't like it. Too much hustle and bustle. You got family there? Special someone, maybe? The afternoon is wearing on. You see no harm in confiding in Silas about your new life. A job, eh? What's your line? Okay, now, 5 to choose from. Are we an antiquarian, a doctor, a journalist, a private investigator, or a professor? So I'm going to give those options again. Antiquarian, doctor, journalist, private investigator, or Professor? Chandler Riggs. My name's okay. Chandler Riggs. There we go. So we've got 1 vote for Doctor, 1 vote for Antiquarian, 2 for Professor, 3 for PI. Or are you just quoting ancient Greek at me? 3.1415. So 2 antiquarians, 2 professors, 1 doctor, and 3 PIs. You can change your vote if you want to. Ooh, Professor suddenly lurched into the lead. Professor suddenly lurched into the lead. I think Professor's now winning. Very young Professor at 27. Professor Fitz, actually. Education 80, intelligence 70. We're little, we're nerdy. My dice all over the place. So we are a Professor. Professor stole it at the last gasp. Okay. Professor. 265. You explain you are joining a faculty at the renowned Miskatonic University. It's only a junior position with teaching and tutoring duties, but the institution is well regarded. Who knows where the appointment might lead? A symposium, a visiting lectureship, even one of its world-spanning expeditions. Silas wrinkles his nose. I had enough of book learning when I was a young'un. Still, I suppose it's well enough for those who likes it. Right, our skills. We have a credit rating skill of 30. Occupation skills. Okay. Right. This gets complicated. Occupation skills are library use, other language, own language, and psychology. And we pick up to 4 other skills as relevant academic or personal specialities. Right. I'm going to have to sort of just do this quickly. So we're going to slap that 70 in library use. 60. We'll put a 60 in psychology. We've got a 60 we can put in own language. We start with 80 anyway because it's our education. So don't need to put anything in that. Other language. Think of another language that we could speak well, and I'll slap a 50 in it. Anything might be suitable. Latin? Greek? German? Deep speech? Elvish? Shall we have a Latin? Latin, yeah. Put a 50 in Latin. Okay. Right. I'm a professor of Tolkien law. For orcish. Right. We've got 4 other skills we can slap decent scores on. Those of you who've played a bit of Cthulhu will probably know that spot hidden is useful. So I'm going to put a 50 in spot hidden. We've still got a 60, another 50, and a couple of 1, 2, 3, 4. We've still got a 60, a 50, and a couple of 40s to assign. Yeah, a 60, a 50, and 2 40s. So if you know any Call of Cthulhu, just think of a skill you'd like us to have, and I'll slap it in. If you don't know Call of Cthulhu, think of a suitable skill, and if there's something suitable, I'll put a bit of a dandy. You reckon a bit of a dandy, a bit of charm, maybe? A bit of charm? Sounds good to me. Shall I put a 50 in charm? It's not usually played as a solo game. Tongue Power, it's usually played as a group game, but it is absolutely brilliant. Yeah, a firearm skill. So what about handgun? What about I'll put a 40 in handgun. So we've got something. We've got 60 and a 40 left. Investigation is pretty much spot hidden psychology type things. Library use, we've already got skills in those. Any other skills you like? I've got a 60 and a 40 to put in there. Anything you fancy. We can't put it in Cthulhu Mythos, though. I like it. 3 or 4 players is about ideal for Call of Cthulhu for me. Biology. Yeah, good call. Good call. Let's have a bit of biology. Let's have a 40 in biology. We've got 160 left. First aid. Yes, good shout. Biology, first aid. Okay, yeah. So we're a science professor. We've studied a bit of biology. We might have had a bit of training to get first aid and firearm skills, and we're a bit of a charmer. Good. There we go. Let's see how we get on. This is Call of Cthulhu. Call of Cthulhu is a sort of game where the characters die with alarming frequency. Sometimes. The players do silly things. You realise Silas hasn't made a stop since the incident with the tractor. The motor coach winds its way uphill. However, your thoughts are interrupted as the road crests the ridge and you are treated to a magnificent view of the vista below. A creek snakes its way through the valley, breaking the rich autumn palette of the tree line. In the distance, the white mountains rise into a hazy cloud. There is no settlement, not even a cabin as far as the eye can see. Birds drift through the treetops, and you can just make out what might be 2 white-tailed deer lingering by the water. Perhaps you're making a mistake by moving to the city. Could you survive on your own in this lush wilderness? No, we've got no survival skill. You have a base ability in most skills listed in brackets after the skill name. Yeah, okay. So I'm familiar with how the base skills work. I've run enough Call of Cthulhu. Oh, right, okay. We've got another 80 points to spend on any 4 skills that are personal interests. So again, I want you to come up with 4 possible skills to add 20 points to the base for each of them. So again, chat is setting the character. Think of more skills to use. Right. So Squirrel Hermit says gambling. Now, there isn't specifically a gambling skill, but if you want that sort of thing, you could have fast talk, maybe. Makes sense? Hiking or camping? Okay. Hiking, camping is survival. So we'll have 20 in that. Enjoy your game, Mage. Hand to hand. Okay. Fighting brawl. We'll put 20 points in fighting brawl, 20 points in fast talk, 20 points in survival. One more. Think of one more thing we might be good at. Disguise. Yeah, go on. Okay. Disguise. We'll go for disguise. 20, 20. Okay, 20 in that. That takes us to 25. Right, we are now finished with the character. Okay. The motor coach rattles on through the hills, and Silas lapses into silence. The sky darkens behind you, pinks tinting the clouds as the sun descends. Finally, a welcome sight comes into view, a settlement on the crest of a hill. This doesn't look like the pictures you've seen of Ossipee. Perhaps you can persuade Silas to stop while you stretch your legs. Minutes later, a harsh stuttering from the engine interrupts your reverie. Silas frowns and rattles the gear stick. The motor coach falters in its ascent. Silas utters a curse you don't recognize and grinds his teeth, struggling at the wheel. You seem to inch up the hill until you reach the first buildings, low dwellings constructed from a rough red stone. Silas wrestles the coach into a small bay off the road. He scrambles from his seat and makes for the engine compartment. Okay. Lord Javi, no, it is not odd that you're listening to the Smiths. The Smiths have got some good songs. What different the guitar riff to what difference does it make is an absolute classic. Right. We have a choice to make now. We either make a standard drive auto check at 20% or a hard psychology check at 30%. So, do we make a drive auto check or do we make a psychology check? 20% chance of success on drive auto, 30% on psychology. Up to you lot to decide. I have my dice. Pure white dice. Maybe we should have taken auto mechanics, you're right. So 3 reckon psychology, 1 drive auto. Any more? Three, 2. Hello, Master Blaster. Halakha, that is how it is meant to turn out, and it is especially apt if you're a psychology professor. Yep. Okay, gonna make a psychology check. General Nut knows. We have failed our psychology check by 8 points. Do we spend 8 points of luck to succeed in this one, or shall we just let it go for now? I rolled a 38, and we have 30. So it's going to make a hard check. We've got 60 points of psychology, but hard check is half. So I think we let it go. I think letting it go. 8 points of luck is a fair few too many to use early on, but I'm going to let you all decide. Yeah, I think, weren't you the first one to die in that particular game? No, I think you were. Yes, you were, weren't you? Yes. You chose to allow yourself to be operated on. And you burst open, and the broodlings all spilled out, while your colleague was watching. Let it go. Let it go. Okay. If you fail your roll, turn to 194, which we shall do. You did indeed get it all on film. You were the star of an X-rated horror movie. R-rated on your side of the Atlantic. Silas opens the engine compartment and sticks his head inside. The hot metal pops and sizzles. He pokes at various components, then withdraws and wipes his brow, smearing it with dark grease. I ain't sure what's wrong. Might be the oil pressure. Might be something knocked off kilter when we took that spill. Kind of much till the engine cools neither, and with the light failing, I think we'll be here through the night. He wipes his hands on a rag. The shadows from your surroundings are already long and the air is chilly. You feel stiff from the journey, and a night in this rickety coach sounds unappealing. Silas sees your dismay. This here's Emberhead. Miles from any place. I only come through twice a week, but the folks here are good people. May Ledbetter keeps a spare room. She'll look after you. Up that alley, turn right, first house on the left. He scratches his cheek, looks again into the engine compartment, and spits on the ground. Meet me back here at 8 in the morning. We'll see how we stand. So we have options here now. Shall we go to look for May Ledbetter's house? Shall we ask Silas where he will spend the night? Or shall we challenge him about the breakdown? So, look for May Ledbetter's house, ask Silas where he'll be spending the night, or press him further on the breakdown. Got an itchy nose. So 1 for May's house, 1 for pressing him, 2 for asking him where he's staying. So far. $14 people in chat. Okay, it looks like we have 1 for May's house, 1 for pressing him, and 4 now for asking him where he's going. So it's going to take a bit of a swing. And Roland confirms it. 5 for pressing him where he's going. That's one. That's 251. Anything about this one? There isn't much artwork in it. I will show you art pieces when we find them. You ask about Silas's plans. He gives the engine a sour glance before answering. I've got acquaintances here in the village. I reckon one of them owes me a favour, enough for a bed and breakfast in any case. He stares at his grubby hands. Probably won't stretch to a hot bath, though. You don't seem to have a lot of options. You fetch your cases from the back of the motor coach. The last thing you need is for all your worldly possessions to disappear into some stranger's hovel overnight. Turn to 267. You drag your cases between the sullen buildings. You feel surprisingly weary, considering you've spent all day sitting down. Silas's directions lead you to a modest dwelling with a slate roof. A nameplate reads Ledbetter, and underneath a sign in neat copper plate reads Lodging Room. The lane around you is gloomy, but a lamp flickers in the window. A breeze chills your face. You're not about to begin your new life by sleeping in the street, so you rap on the weather-beaten door. It's a bigger book, so I need a bit more space for this one. After a moment, you hear footsteps inside the house. A bolt is drawn back and the wooden door swings open. A figure with loose curls and a rough-looking house dress peers at you. Her gaze takes in your travelling suit and your cases. Her voice has a slight Irish lilt. Can't do an Irish accent, so I won't bother. Hello. Should I take it as you're looking for a room for the night? You acquire as to her rates, suppressing a grimace. As far as you've seen, the village doesn't offer you many alternatives. Oh, you'll find them very reasonable, she says. You look tired. I'm May. Come inside and we'll talk over a cup of tea. The Ledbetter house feels cramped, with a low ceiling and simple fittings, but it is well kept, and a cheerful fire crackles in the grate. The aroma of the tea is soothing, and the cup warms your fingers. Have you come to Amberhead for the festival? Asks May. To explain what happened with Silas and the coach, shall we explain? Shall we explain what happened with Silas and the coach, or shall we ask about the festival? I was trying to do half American, then it failed dismally. So, shall we tell her about what happened with Silas and the coach, or shall we ask her about the festival? Four festivals, one coach. Four festivals, three coaches. My accents have gone to pot tonight. Can't even do my goblin voice. Don't know why it is. Tired, maybe. So, any more votes? We're on four festivals, three coaches. This juice is red apple ice. I get it cheap. I run a vape shop. Right. Looks like we're asking about the festival. General Nut gets it. Well, now, I suppose the festival is about the only reason folks come to Amberhead. I thought you'd maybe come to study it or maybe take photographs. Well, it's not tomorrow night, but the night after. I suppose it'll look very strange to a passerby, though. May tops up your tea. The spout chinks against your cup. We got the beacon, you see. One night every year there's a torchlit procession and we light the beacon on the cliff. You've never seen the likes of it. They say it keeps the spirit of the village alive for another year. It's a celebration. A celebration. She tails off for a moment and blinks. But you didn't come here to listen to me blather. You must be hungry. I can rustle you up a bit of stew. How would that be? You ask again about her rates, and May names a price so low you accept it without hesitation. The room is small but comfortable, and the stew is dark and hearty. After dinner, you have a couple of hours before your usual bedtime. Shall we talk to May some more? Or shall we walk around and get our bearings? Or shall we just turn in for an early night? Talk to May, walk around the town a bit, or turn in for an early night? No, don't make juice in the bathtub. We've actually got a proper lab in our other shop, all properly clean and stuff. We can do the mixing. So we have 3 going for walk around, and everybody else is going for talk. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 talks so far, and 3 walk around. So talking is winning at the moment. What sort of disguise? Fake moustache? Charlie Chaplin hat? Thick glasses? Curly wig? My nose is so itchy. Looks like talkers won. Talkers won. 31. May talks about life in Emberhead. In her letters, my sister always asks if I'm not bored living in such a small place. She lives in New York. Then she writes about how frightened she is to walk home at night. I ask you. You mention your hopes for a new life in Arkham. May doesn't seem to hear you. It's a small place here, yeah, but that means we have real community. Everybody's face is known. Everybody works together. Nobody is excluded. Except those who choose to exclude themselves, of course. But I couldn't live anywhere else right now. Make a charm roll. Oh, good. We've got a good charm. 33. We've passed our charm roll. If you succeed, turn to 39. Yes, we have. So we've charmed May. As the hour wears on, May's upbeat manner descends into something more reflective. It's not always easy. I'm a widow, you know. We have a little money, and of course, I appreciate the custom of travelers like yourself. I know we'll never starve as long as we live here, but I don't see myself marrying again. I know every man in this village. I know them all too well, if you see what I mean. Her mouth twists briefly, then she yawns and pushes a hand through her hair. Time for me to turn in. When would you like your breakfast? It doesn't give you any options, so I assume you just say, in the morning. The Vandross roll. As May stands, you hear a clunk behind you. You look over your shoulder, but all you can see is a wooden door securely closed. May tuts, the young lady of the house. She'll have been listening to us. Ruth, come here and greet our guest. There's a short pause and the door creaks open. 2 wide eyes peer at you from the gap between tousled hair and a rough nightgown. What did you say? The eyes blink. Pleased to meet you. Now get back to bed. The door closes again. My daughter Ruth. 10 years this summer. She's a delight and a torment all in one. Don't worry, she sleeps in with me. She'll not disturb you. Good night now. You retire to your room. It's a little chilly, but you are too tired to worry about lighting the fire. The sheets are clean and the bed soon warms up. The silence outside is strange after living in a town for so long, but you soon drop off. Turn to 154. You dream of fire in the grate, coruscating colours shimmering through the dancing tongues of flame. At first they are tiny, almost microscopic, but then they grow and grow until a kaleidoscope inferno spills from the fireplace, spreading across the floor and up the sheets. You wake with a start. Daylight glints through the curtains. You get up and examine the grate, blinking the sleep from your eyes. It's quite cold. If you've taken any damage, you may heal a hit point. You haven't. My nose is annoying me. May seems to have no running water, but has supplied some in a ceramic jug. You freshen up at the washstand and go in. She cooks a hearty breakfast and leaves you in peace to eat. At about 7:30, you are paid up, packed, and ready to go. You bid May goodbye, and she wishes you the best for your new career in Arkham. Okay. If you succeeded in a skill roll last night and wish to investigate the results further, turn to blah, blah, blah. I don't think charm counts here. I'm going to look to see if it relates to the charm roll. No, it doesn't. Okay. Sorry, no. Otherwise, turn to 192. Okay. So it looks like we probably should have walked around last night. Could have learned something. You're already tired of your heavy bags. Hopefully Silas has repaired the motor coach and you can resume your long journey. A sour pussy may be, but the old driver seemed to understand his vehicle well enough. You pause to check your watch, still 20 minutes early. And around the final corner, the motor coach has gone. You put your bags down and search the area, trekking up and down slopes, around corners. At the edge of the village, you trace the long road back as it winds up across the hills. 8 o'clock comes and goes. There is no coach to be seen. A passing villager notices your bags. Looking for the boss? I heard him take off at first light. He's due back in 3, maybe 4 days. If you need a place to stay, May Ledbetter rents a room. The man raises his hat to you and strolls off into the village. You curse Silas under your breath. Perhaps he went for parts, but you wonder if the old goat has stranded you here on purpose. It's Call of Cthulhu, of course he has. May is doing laundry and looks surprised to see you again. Forgot something? When you explain the situation, she offers to store your bags while you try to arrange alternative transport. You are grateful to relinquish the load. Nobody here has anything like a car. She strokes her chin and narrows her eyes. Maybe you could find somebody with a horse and cart for your bags. Man, I could try and ask around a bit later. Try Mr. Winters at the village hall. He'll know if anybody will. Or ask among the artisans. Their workshops are first left on Silbury Street. She reaches over and squeezes your wrist. Don't worry. I won't see you sleeping in the street, money or no money. You thank May and turn to face the village. I can see some of you have got the idea. I'm getting Wickerman thoughts. You wander the streets of Emberhead without any particular destination in mind. The village is built on a relatively flat upland with splendid views. To the north, the hazy tips of the White Mountains reach for the heavens. To the south, the sparkling waters of Lake Winnipesaukee touch the horizon. The village itself takes less than 5 minutes to cross from edge to edge. You arrive on the winding road to the west. The only other road leads to the south, following the lower ridge of land as it turns east. In the southwest of the village is an open grassy space borders a ruined church. Its graveyard cresting the cliffs. To the northeast, the 3 main thoroughfares meet at a raised black metal structure. It looms stark against the blue sky. Okay, we have 6 options. Shall we ask about transport at the local general store? Shall we seek out the village hall? Shall we walk around the lower level and check out the eastern road? Shall we examine the large metal structure? Shall we explore the church? Or shall we look for local people with their own transport needs? Okay, so general store, village hall, lower level and check the east road, large metal structure, church, or speak to local people. 6 options, so needed to make a decision. I wonder if we're in the Edward Woodward role. You all want to go to the church. Okay. 34. You cross the street towards the church. As you glance to your left, your gaze alights on the large metal structure. Something bothers you about its positioning. You back up and look again. Yes, Emberhead's central thoroughfare points directly at the structure. This seems too precise to be a coincidence. You press on and draw into the shadow of the church. The building is in a sorry state. The top of the steeple is missing, a ragged gash of splintered boards marking its absence, and the floors beneath it have collapsed. It appears to have torn through the roof of the main building as it fell. Only the back half is still intact. The white paint which once covered the church has yellowed and peeled. A chair. It seems safe enough to explore the rear section. Old pews are stacked against the wall, choked with mildew. Most of the windows are broken. You guess this church has been disused for about 20 years. There is little more to interest you. Make a ride roll. Okay. Our ride skill is 5%. We've critically failed it. Okay. 25. We needed 94 luck to make that work. You'll begin to get your bearings in Emberhead. Would you like to explore some more? Okay, so the church was no good. We failed that ride roll. I don't know what that was all about. So, general store, village hall, east road, large metal structure, or talk to local people. Structure? 3 going for the structure? Any other choices? Nobody else voting? Nobody else paying attention? Is it dinner time in America now? Is that what it is? You'll bugger off to eat your chili and your burgers. Examine the large metal structure. 57. You walk up the approach. the most central of the village's major streets. It points directly at the odd metal structure. As you emerge from the shade of the nearby buildings, you are greeted by a magnificent panorama spread from the north to the southeast. The last colours of fall taint the hills in sleepy gold. No, L's probably involved in OGL arguments. He has been all week. The structure, by contrast, is made from uncompromising iron, singed black. It supports an immense curved platform at the level of your head. Further struts snake up to a central point. It looks like they've been made. It looks like they have been some kind of sculpture at one time, but they are now twisted and melted beyond recognition. An older gentleman passes, looking up at you with rheumy eyes. "Are you here for the festival?" he asks. "That's the beacon. When they light it, night after next, you'll be able to see it 10 miles away." He gives a little nod of satisfaction, then moves on, leaning on his walking stick. Now you notice bundles of wood tied and stacked against the buildings nearby. Perhaps this festival would be an interesting diversion, but you really must head to Arkham as soon as possible. Festival, yes. It does say now to make a spot hidden roll, and our spot hidden is 50, and I've rolled a 43. Boltron's Beacon. I8, I7, I8. Was Boltron's Beacon I7 or I8? I should know that off the top of my head. Doubting myself now. Succeed on the spot hidden. As you walk away from the iron structure, you notice something strange about the construction of the village. All the wooden buildings are concentrated in the west and southwest. To the east and northeast, closest to the beacon, the buildings are formed from dark brick and clay. Does this mean the settlement began at the beacon and spread west? Mark the box next to spot hidden. Okay. And turn to 25. You begin to get your bearings in Emberhead, which you'd like to explore some more. Okay, we now have the option of general store, village hall, local people, or go down to the lower level and check out the Eastern Road. So, village hall, general store, lower level, or speak to the locals. Up to you lot. We have differences of opinion now. I think we should get going, personally. I have a feeling that we are to be cremated alone against the flames. That's what it's called. 3, 4 general store, 2 locals at the moment. For general store. Okay. General store. 16. The general store is on a corner beside the main road, just before it plunges to the south. The shopkeeper is a brisk, immense lady with starched apron and strong shoulders. She looks hard at your unfamiliar face. Transport? There's a motor coach company. There's a motor coach comes through twice a week. Missed it? Truck brings in my supplies every second Tuesday, but he's not due till next week. She shrugs. It seems Emberhead is content to keep its distance from the outside world. It does say that we can buy a dusty hunting knife if we wish. I think so. It's the only thing it gives us an option to buy. And go back to 25. All right, we only had an option to try 4 things on this list, so we've only got one more now that we can look at. Village Hall, lower level of the town, or talk to local people. Village Hall, lower level of the town, or talk to local people. This is our last choice on this list. So Halakar wants us to go back to May's house, raid her wardrobe, and disguise ourselves to get out of town. Local people, then. Okay, let's talk to the locals. Talk to the locals. 96. Not far from the Ledbetter house, on the north side of Silbury Street, there is an open courtyard. The rhythmic tattoo of a hammer seems to announce your approach. The courtyard is the busiest location you have yet seen in Emberhead. It is bordered by a ring of workshops. Some are brick buildings, some only rough huts. A blacksmith ceases to hammer, thrusting something red and glowing into a bucket of cold water. A weaver looks up from his loom, blinking at you for a moment before returning to his shuttle. A potter, engraver, and carpenter each work in their own space, exchanging friendly banter. You move among the artisans, chatting about their work. Eventually, you bring up the question of export. Some of them send occasional packages with Silas. Some restrict their custom entirely to villagers. You receive no suggestions about alternative transport. Make a psychology roll. Psychology of 60. 31. Dice have been generally good to us so far. Apart from that one. That's one roll. Let's destroy this. One of the workshops is shut up. When you stray close to it, the repartee between the craftspeople becomes awkward, almost forced. Interesting. Okay. Not sure what that tells us. Something about closed workshop. Back to 25. Okay, we've done all of our possible checks here. We have to move on. And here's Elle arriving. Hello, Elle. We're here to get away from the OGL, though. That's the thing. Yes. Your morning exertions have left you hungry. You roam the streets of Emberhead looking for sustenance. There's nothing resembling the busy cafes of your hometown or anything that might be called a restaurant. It's beginning to look like you'll have to get some supplies from the general store when May Ledbetter comes down the street with a girl trailing in her wake. It's Ruth. As she notices you, she races past her mother and approaches you with a smile. This is a different Ruth from the shy creature of last night. As she reaches you, she stops and stretches her arms up in celebration. She looks up into your eyes. Abruptly, the smile drops from her face and she looks several years older. "Get out before the festival," she hisses. "Get out." She blinks hard, then scuttles back towards her mother. May approaches, wrapping an arm around her daughter's shoulders. She smiles. "How are you getting on? Have you found transport?" Startled, you explain the frustrations of the situation. "I'd try Mr. Withers in the village hall. He's always in of an afternoon. You'll be hungry by now, though. Help yourself to any food in the house. The door's not locked." You glance at Ruth, where she has squirreled herself behind her mother's leg. Her eyes implore you to silence. So, do we keep pushing Ruth for more information? Do we ask May about what Ruth told us? Or do we say nothing? Yes, good old midsummer. I think we've already charmed Ruth. She seems to quite like us. Chat's lively again. I'm guessing you've all had your dinner, settled down, waiting for Friday night streams, spending time with me. Okay, we're saying nothing. You take your leave of the Ledbetters and head towards their house. The door opens easily. In the low kitchen, you make a meal from the stodgy bread and leftover stew. A little window offers a view to the mountains. If you learned one thing this morning, it was that the Emberhead streets hold little to occupy the visitor from out of town. But there's still about 5 hours of daylight remaining. You could take some provisions from the bare essentials from your luggage and set out in hope of finding another settlement, or you could go and ask advice from this Mr. Winters. So shall we prepare provisions and try and get out of town? Or shall we head towards the village hall? Those are your choices. Leave town or go to the village hall. Get out. If I was running this as a Call of Cthulhu scenario, you would certainly have the option to try and steal some clothes and get out. I'd let you. I'd certainly let you tell that. But of course, it's a choose your own adventure. So sadly, our disguise skill doesn't seem to be coming in very useful. Getting out of town is certainly the most popular option at the moment. Any more votes? Get out of town or go to the village hall? It can't be as easy as just getting out of town, can it? You leave. Well done. You've won. So at the moment, Leave Town is just about winning. Any more votes? No more votes. Leave. We're going to try and leave town. 28. You take money, water, and some sandwiches. It seems polite to leave Mayor Ledbetter a note explaining the situation, that you'll return for your bags as soon as possible. The sky is flecked with cloud, but shows no sign of imminent rain. A couple of villagers watch as you descend on the southern road and follow it around to the east. The black metal structure looms on the promontory above. You shiver as you pass the lower huts and head out of Emberhead. After the miserable enclosed streets of Emberhead, you are refreshed by the open air and sense of progress. An hour later, however, the empty road ceases to be a novelty, as you've just entered the first patch of woodland when you hear an eerie, lilting howl from the north. It says to make a natural world roll, which is a skill we haven't got. We get 10% on it. Oh, what a surprise. We fail. Go to 41. You hesitate. You have grown up in the familiar landscape of the town. Wild animals are a little outside your experience. Is it unwise to head on into the unknown by yourself? Shall we press on? Or shall we return to Emberhead? Press on into the forest or return to Emberhead? We're on 2-2 at the moment. 3-2 for pressing on. We'll keep walking. 3-3. Three, 4. Going back to Emberhead is now in the lead. Elle, do we press on into the woods because we've heard something howling, or do we return to this town where we think we're going to be burnt? Currently, returning to town is winning 4-3. Any more votes? So return to town is now winning 5-3. Do we return to town? 16 people in chat. 8 have voted. As soon as I say 16, somebody leaves. Bye. 5-3. Are we going back to town? Last call for votes. No more? Okay, we're going back to town. A second call answers the first. You imagine yourself cornered by wolves in the forest, torn and bleeding on the ground, as the leader stands over you, saliva dripping from between its glistening, pointing teeth. That merciless mouth flashes towards your neck. It was only an imagination. The return walk to town seems longer than the outward leg. You try not to keep looking behind you. As you ascend, the sun has dipped into the sky. You still have enough time to try the village hall. The village hall overlooks the north ridge of the village. You walk along Silbury Street to find it, conscious of the oppressive black metal structure framed at the end of the road that it keeps mentioning. The shutters of the hall are open and some windows are left ajar. There is no knocker. Sorry, Al. But a little bell over the entrance tickles as you push the front door. Inside, a sturdy door to your right is marked private. To your left, an opening leads through into a bright room. You take a few steps inside. Benches line the walls, and there are two notice boards mounted between the windows. Right, we have an option here. Do we knock on the closed door, or do we examine the notice boards? Haven't seen a pub in this place. They don't seem to be the pub types. You can knock with your feet if you want. One, two, knock. Two for knocking, but notice boards, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 notice boards. Okie dokie. Notice boards are one. The floorboards creak beneath you as you cross the room. You feel a slight spring in your step. Perhaps this room is used as a gymnasium for the village children. One notice board appears to be for the adults of the community and one for the children. The former looks neglected, featuring handwritten advertisements for household items and a yellow note about telegraph pricing. There's nothing about the festival. The children's notice board has a schedule for weekly creche services and a number of paintings obviously done by the children themselves. Most are incoherent, though colourful. At best, you can tell they depict fireworks, or perhaps the tale of Joseph from the book of Genesis. One has lost a pin and hangs upside down. It shows a giant bird attacking Emberhead. Or it might simply be that the artist has not yet mastered the subtleties of scale. Make a spot hidden roll. 41 is a pass. Told you spot hidden's useful. As the afternoon sun hits the floor, you notice something curious. The boards under the windows are newer than the boards in the centre of the floor. The frames also show signs of having been replaced in the recent past. Perhaps rain leaked in and rotted the wood. The door scrapes behind you. A middle-aged, respectable gentleman appears in the doorway. May I help you? You explain you are visiting on May Ledbetter's recommendation. Well, I am Clyde Winters. I'm not sure I can help you, but would you care for some coffee? I'm partial to a cup in the afternoon. He gestures to the open door behind him. This seems like a worthwhile opportunity, and you are a little thirsty. You step through the door marked private. The other side of the village hall is in marked contrast to the public space. The room is compact, lined with shelves of books and file alcoves. One corner is reserved for a tiny pantry and what is presumably a water closet. You study Mr. Winters as he fills the percolator. Although thin on top, his hair is oiled and neatly swept back. His suit is a sober affair and well tailored, even if the cut is a little old-fashioned. A lesser man working alone might have loosened his bow tie for comfort. On the desk, against the opposite wall, you notice what looks like a telegraph set. Shall we ask him about the telegraph set, or shall we make small talk with him? Right. Ask him about the telegraph, or make small talk with Mr. Winters. Coming towards the end of this stream, I won't have too many more options. Yeah, classic film. Now we're going to be listening to the tones of them all singing "Winter is a coming in." Is it winter? Is it summer is a coming in? What's it song that they sing? Some things are coming in. Summers are coming in. Autumns are coming in. Winters are coming in. Something like that. Can't think. Tong Pao, it's the Wicker Man film. Small talk. Small talk. Nobody seems to agree with General Nut here. Everyone's going for small talk. Chat to Mr. Winters. The pot begins to gurgle as you exchange pleasantries with Winters. Living here, it's a trade-off, like so much in life. He looks past you at a high shelf. I could wish for access to a proper library, of course, but I know myself well enough. I'm strictly a dabbler. And the cities? His face wrinkles in distaste. Too many people. Everybody rushing and shouting. We have a special place here in Emberhead, and somebody must accept responsibility for keeping it so. That was my father before me, and now the duty falls to me. He lifts his chin and straightens up. This evening, as the sun sets, look out at the landscape around the village. We have peace up here, halfway to the stars. Are we not privileged? Is this not worth the hardships we must accept? He looks at you speculatively. This seems a good time to ask about the telegraph. Thank you, Daniel. I know. It's nice and relaxing having a read on a Friday night. The knowing look. Yes. The telegraph. Much as we value our isolation, we do need the link sometimes. You were hoping to send a message? I must apologize, though. The line has been down for 2 weeks. I reported the fault, but of course they're not so speedy when the problem lies in a rural area. I'm expecting a repair the day after next. I do appreciate how frustrating this must be. The coach is due, in 3 days? But I think he's going west. Perhaps you might engage a wagon. One of the farmers might help. You explain that you've asked a few of the residents already, but to no avail. I tell you what. Winters pours you a steaming cup of coffee. The dark liquid smells rich and strong. When the repair crew arrive, I'll ask them to take you back with them. How would that be? They might want $1 or $2 to grease the wheels. The day after tomorrow? It's less than ideal, but it's the first real opportunity you've had. To thank, do we thank Winters and leave, or do we ask him about his library? Thank Winters and leave. This is our last choice tonight, by the way. Thank Winters and leave, or ask him about his library. Whatever you say, I'm going to write down the number and say me taras. So make your choice. Thank Winters and leave, or ask him about his library. Library. Okay, so next session we'll be beginning at entry 62. Asking about his livery too. Yeah, we could on a horse. But 62 next time. We've survived the first session. There aren't actually as many entries in this one as with the Fighting Fantasies. 270 is the last one. So it's a bit more involving though, because we have the skill checks and stuff, which adds a little bit more. And I like a bit of Call of Cthulhu. I've got 3 of these Call of Cthulhu ones. I've got Alone Against the Tide, which I seem to think is I remember being very short. We can try that sometime. This is Alone Against the Flames, and I've got Alone Against the Frost, which might be a bit too complicated. I've actually never played it. I've read the introduction to it, and you don't just play one character. There's a group you're in charge of, and that could be a little bit complicated to play as a stream. I don't have any of the solo D&D ones, no. I've got my stack of Fighting Fantasy ones. I do believe they're republishing Lone Wolf very soon, which I intend to get. And if I ever find any of the MERP ones at anything less than about 50 quid a book, then I might pick up one of those, but they're ridiculously expensive because they're quite rare now. A friend of mine at school had one in the 80s. I hope he still got it because they're worth a fortune. But thank you all for taking part. I do hope you've enjoyed the little stream tonight. As far as I know, next week will be as per normal. I have, oh yeah, sorry, you mean the modules, Maze of the Riddling Minotaur and Blizzard Pass. Yes, I did have one of those. I had Maze of the Riddling Minotaur. I didn't play Blizzard Pass. Yeah, I've forgotten about that. Yeah, what were they? M1, it was rebadged. It was given another number afterwards. M solo it became, didn't it? We could do a solo dungeon with with the Dungeon Master's Guide charts. whatever. At some point, yeah. I mean, these are all. It was originally released as M1, I'm sure, in the UK here, and then when they released the Masters ones, it got changed to M solo. But I think anyhow. Right, I'm going to end the stream anyway now because I know Legion of Myth will be running theirs in a bit, so don't like to clash with everybody else. So hopefully you've enjoyed yourselves. Thank you all for joining in and having a relaxing few hours. Yeah, I think we all want to watch Wicker Man now. Take care, Munchie, and I'll see you next Wednesday because I've managed to ration my StreamYard time properly this month. Right, thank you all. Cheers. Thank you.